Few objects in human history evoke as much mystery, awe, and fascination as the Ark of the Covenant. Forged under God's direct command in the heart of the Sinai Desert, it was the visible symbol of divine presence among men, the throne of the Creator on earth. Before it, kings prostrated themselves, nations trembled, and priests entered with reverent fear. Its power was so great that no one dared touch it, for the holiness that emanated from it was deadly to anyone who approached it in an impure manner. The Ark parted rivers, brought down walls, and guided an entire people through the promise of a land and a God who dwelt among them. Then it disappeared after the destruction of Solomon's temple. The Ark vanished from the pages of history, plunging into a silence that spans centuries. Where is it? Was it hidden in Jerusalem, buried under the Temple Mount, taken by prophets, or perhaps kept by God until the end times? Modern excavations, technological underground scanning, and even secret investigations by international agencies continue the search for this artifact, which, according to faith, contains the echo of divine glory. Its location has finally been revealed. Stay with us until the end. Find out, but first, leave your like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. The story of the Ark begins in the book of Exodus, when God instructed Moses to build a portable sanctuary. In the heart of this tabernacle, in the most sacred place, the Holy of Holies, the Ark would be enthroned. Its specifications were divinely precise. A box of acacia wood, covered in gold inside and out, with a solid gold lid called the mercy seat, adorned with two facing gold cherubim. Inside it were placed the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments, a golden jar containing manna, and Aaron's rod that budded, symbols of God's covenant, provision, and priestly authority. The Ark was not an idol, but the symbol of God's throne on earth, upon which the Shekinah, the visible glory of God, was manifested. It led the Israelites through the desert, parted the waters of the Jordan River, and was instrumental in the fall of Jericho. Its holiness was so intense that improper contact resulted in death, as in the case of Uzzah, who touched it to support it during its transport to Jerusalem in the reign of David. It was David who took it to his new capital, and his son Solomon installed it in the Holy of Holies of the magnificent First Temple. There it remained as the center of Israelite worship for centuries until the Babylonian invasion of Jerusalem in 586 BC, when the temple was destroyed and the Ark disappeared from historical records. Where is the Ark? What happened to the Ark of the Covenant? It is one of the greatest archaeological and religious enigmas. The Bible is silent about its fate after the destruction of the temple. Did the Babylonians take it as spoils of war, or was it hidden by the priests before the invasion? The theories are many and varied. One of the strongest traditions, especially within Judaism, holds that the Ark never left Jerusalem. It is speculated that King Solomon himself, foreseeing the future destruction of the temple, built a secret chamber deep within the Temple Mount to hide it. Some rabbis and scholars believe that it still rests today in one of the tunnels and chambers beneath the Dome of the Rock. This theory is politically and religiously sensitive, as any large-scale excavation on the Temple Mount is currently impossible due to Muslim control of the site and the potential for conflict. Another prominent theory, held by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, states that the Ark was taken to Ethiopia by Menelikide, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. According to Ethiopian tradition, the true Ark is kept in a chapel, its safekeeping entrusted to a single monk who protects it for life. However, access to the object is strictly forbidden, preventing any independent verification. Other hypotheses suggest that the prophet Jeremiah hid it on Mount Nebo, or that it was taken to Rome, or even destroyed. The search for the Ark has been marked by news of excavations, unfortunately by false findings. In recent decades, several archaeological expeditions in Israel and surrounding areas have rekindled hope, but no conclusive proof has been found. Sensationalist claims, such as those of the adventurer Hanyat, who claimed to have found the Ark in an underground chamber near Golgotha, have been widely discredited by the archaeological and academic community due to a lack of verifiable evidence, being considered frauds. Serious biblical archaeology continues its research, but the location of the Ark remains a mystery. In recent years, different news and archaeological research have emerged that arouse interest in relation to the Ark of the Covenant, not necessarily claiming that it is the one found or that it has proven its existence, but suggesting clues, hypotheses, and new methodologies that may open avenues of investigation. One of the most talked about innovations involves the use of muon detection techniques to scan underground areas without invasive excavation. Scholars at the City of David site in Jerusalem applied this technology to map hidden cavities beneath ancient buildings. They used detectors to measure cosmic particles, muons, and from their absorption or deflection, they reconstructed images of voids and underground internal structures. The experiment report focused on Jeremiah's cistern and demonstrated that it is possible to identify density anomalies even before touching the ground with a shovel, which opens up the possibility of discovering hidden chambers that could house unknown artifacts without disrespecting sensitive layers. This type of technology may, in the future, allow us to glimpse what lies beneath the Temple Mount and investigate clues there without the need for risky excavations. Another recent news story is at the Tel Shiloh site, a place that biblical tradition associates with the tabernacle, where the ark was before being transferred to Jerusalem. In the summer of 2025, the archaeological team led by Scott Stimple focused excavations on an ancient gate that may correspond to the location where the priest Eli awaited news. According to their account, they discovered a walled portal of collapsed mud bricks and remains that could reveal a monumental building from the early Iron Age, with architectural remains aligned east and west in a 2-to-1 ratio coinciding with biblical specifications for the tabernacle. More than 100,000 bones and sacrificed animals were also found, mostly on the right sides, which directly relates to the priestly ritual laws of Leviticus. They claim that these findings dramatically converge with biblical text and suggest that this building may have been where the ark rested and However, even with the enthusiasm of some media outlets and press releases, archaeologists remain cautious. The evidence still needs to be critically evaluated compared to other contemporary constructions and confirmed by dating, stratigraphy, ceramic context, and usage analysis. Not all experts consider these findings definitive. In addition, news reports circulated about the discovery of ancient jewelry, rings, and earrings in layers near the foundations of structures close to the temple in Jerusalem. In the city of David's sector, during excavations conducted by the Israel Antiquities Authority, one of these rings, dated to approximately 2,300 years ago, was found in the layers of the Second Temple, surrounding a monumental structure. Although these findings are not the ark itself, the location generates a symbolic association with the fact that they are close to the area where the ark was considered central. Some researchers mention that these findings could help create a more detailed archaeological context for the space around the temple, reinforcing or discarding the hypothesis of hidden chambers. Curious news based on declassified documents has also emerged. There are claims that the CIA investigated the ark using remote viewing techniques during the 1980s. In December 1988, a remote viewer allegedly described a container made of wood and gold inside a dark and humid underground environment, protected by entities at unspecified coordinates in the Middle East. The document suggests that this object would have special opening conditions and that it was under surveillance. Furthermore, the psychic viewer indicated that the object would be hidden in a dark and humid underground location somewhere in the Middle East, and that it would be guarded by an unknown power which would destroy anyone who tried to manipulate it improperly. The documents merely report the outcome of an experimental intelligence session, the scientific validity of which is widely questioned. The CIA's own remote viewing project was discontinued in 1995 after an evaluation concluded that the method had not established any discernible benefit and was not considered reliable. These statements gained media attention, but are not considered reliable archaeological evidence by the scientific community. The theory that the Ark of the Covenant is hidden in a cave or underground chamber beneath Jerusalem is one of the most enduring and accepted within certain religious traditions, especially in Orthodox Judaism. The Talmud, a central text of Jewish tradition, suggests that King Solomon, when building the first temple, had already prepared a system of tunnels and deep chambers, precisely for the purpose of safeguarding the Ark in case of invasion or destruction. Thus, the belief is that the Ark was removed from the Holy of Holies and placed in one of these secret chambers, remaining sealed under the Temple Mount to this day. This view is shared by scholars and religious groups who are preparing for an eventual reconstruction of the Third Temple. The difficulty in confirming or refuting this theory lies in the intense political and religious sensitivities of the site. The Temple Mount today houses the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, being one of the most contested sites in the world. Large-scale archaeological excavations are virtually impossible due to the risk of conflict and the need to protect Islamic structures. The construction of the Third Temple, the question of the necessity of the Ark of the Covenant for the construction of the Third Temple, is a point of intense theological debate within Judaism. The Second Temple, rebuilt under Zorobabel and grandly reformed by Herod, functioned for centuries without the Ark, the Holy of Holies. At that time, it was an empty space. This establishes a historical and theological precedent that the sacrifices and rituals of the temple could be performed in the absence of the Ark. Rabbinic schools of thought are divided. Some argue that the Third Temple, to be complete and restore the fullness of worship, would require the presence of the Ark. For them, the revelation of the Ark would be one of the signs of the Messianic era. However, the dominant view, including that of great authorities like Maimonides, is that the temple can and should be rebuilt even without the Ark. Maimonides, in his codification of Jewish law, the Mishnah Torah, details the laws for the construction of the temple and does not list the presence of the Ark as a requirement. The sanctity of the place, the Temple Mount, is considered inherent and eternal, and the restoration of sacrificial service is the main focus. Conclusion: the Ark of the Covenant, more than an object of gold and wood, has always represented the living presence of God among men. Its physical absence does not mean the silence of the Creator, but the fulfillment of a greater purpose. To prepare the way for the full and eternal presence of God in Christ Jesus, while Israel saw in the ark the visible throne of divine glory, Christ sees in Jesus, God himself with us, Emmanuel, who made his dwelling among us. The ancient ark contained the tablets of the law. Christ is the perfect fulfillment of that law. The ark awaited the manna. He is the bread of life. The ark awaited Aaron's rod. He is the eternal high priest who intercedes for us. Modern searches, excavations, and theories may bring curiosity and fascination, but the true presence of God is no longer confined to a sacred artifact. The veil of the temple was torn, and access to the Holy of Holies was opened through the blood of Christ. Jeremiah's promise is fulfilled spiritually. They will no longer speak of the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. They will neither remember it nor visit it. Jeremiah 3:16. Because now the Holy Spirit dwells in us, making each believer the temple of the living God.